Hi, good morning. My name is Judy Horton, and welcome to your field guide to finding your civilian career home. So let's just jump in. So a little bit about myself. My grandfather and father both served in the Army, and my husband served over 26 years in the South Carolina Army National Guard. I definitely get the challenges it is to transition and for people to understand your military skills. On the HR side of the house, I spent my career with 3 multi-billion-dollar companies in HR, project management, and IT. I understand what businesses are looking for, and I've interviewed a lot of people. So I'm hoping I can share some of my knowledge with you today. So we're going to talk about 4 kind of main things. The skills that companies are looking for in the civilian sector, the art of networking, and yes, it is a bit of an art and it is important. So we'll talk about that. Talk about LinkedIn. Yes, I know everybody talks about it, but it really can be useful to your career. And then finally, we're going to wrap up and talk a little bit about culture and why it's important for you to ask certain questions during the interview process. Okay. So skills. Yes, you indeed have the skills that civilian companies are looking for. The key is finding how to relate the skills and experience that you have in the military to something that civilians will understand. I'm not telling you anything new, but I'm hoping I can share with you some of the skills that civilian companies are looking for, and you can then relate that. Soft skills are those things that really set you apart. In being trained in the military, you have them. You inherently have them. You may not know them as the same names, but you do indeed have them. These are just some of the sought-after skills that civilian companies are looking for. Hiring managers may or may not list these per se on a job posting, but you can better believe that they're looking for them. And I'm just going to talk you through some of these today. So first off, work ethic. This is your commitment to doing a job with a sense of urgency. You develop that sense of urgency in the military. You understand that. And having the ability to see something through to the end is perseverance. And every company is looking for that. Whether they realize it or not, they are. Ethics and integrity. Doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. This is so important. And unfortunately, it is lacking in the civilian sector in some ways. But your skills and experience in the military, you bring this naturally to the work table. Teamwork. This is huge, and you have it in spades. The experience that you have, you understand what your goal is and what your role is. Now, one thing I really wanted to point out is that it's natural for people within the military to talk about the we instead of the me, right? You've been trained that way. In the civilian sector, especially when you're interviewing, you have to find a way that shows what you did specifically as part of a team. It's not that you're forgetting the we, but you do need to focus on the me and what was your part so employers understand what you're bringing to the work table. Communication. Ooh, this is huge, and this is one of really an important skill. You'll see this on job postings, but really what people are looking for is they want people who can work with other people and different kinds of people. And you have that experience in the military. And it's that ability to adjust your tone, your interactions with people based on who you're talking to. That's definitely needed within the civilian sector. Being flexible and adaptable. Again, the business world is changing. You saw that every day in the military. You were getting new orders. The same thing happens in the civilian sector. And as long as you have that willingness to take on new tasks and do it with a really good attitude, it really makes a huge difference. Employers are looking for that. Problem solving. Having a cool head and being able to work through to a solution, being a little creative in how you come up with that problem solution. Again, you have this in spades because of the work that you've done in the military. Problem solving. Now on the hard skills side, I just want to take a moment. If you've not heard of this group, Onward to Opportunity, you need to Google them today. It is free training on the areas that I've listed, from project management, all different IT, human resources. You can also get your certifications in these areas, and it's all for free. Doesn't matter what branch or what area, and it even covers military spouses. So definitely look at them. It's worth the time to get skilled up. All right, let's talk about networking. And yes, it really is important to network. Why? 70% of the jobs out there are found through networking. And let me share a little fact with you. 30% of veterans network with other veterans, whereas civilians have only 2% of their network made up by veterans. So it's really important for you, whether you're a military spouse or a veteran, to consciously reach outside of the military and network with civilians. It's really going to pay off in spades. So the time is now. Regardless of where you are in your transition, or if you're in the reserves and the Guard, it's absolutely critical for you to network now. And even after you're out of the military, continue to focus on building your network. It's ongoing, it's iterative. So make sure you do that. So how do you do this? Well, certainly just start with talking with your family and friends. And yes, you can use LinkedIn, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But reaching out and connecting with your neighbors, church members, former coworkers. And if you're interested in a particular career, and let's just use project management as an example, there are so many industry and professional groups out there related to project management that will help you by being a member. Project Management Institute, there's groups called PMs and the PM, there's local PMI chapters. So it's just a matter of looking and finding the right one for you and getting engaged. Let's talk about informational interviews for just a moment. These should be short, I suggest 20-30 minutes at most, sessions with new people. And this is your chance to ask questions of someone new about a type of career, about work, skills that you may need, and ask their advice. It's great to do. The important thing about an informational interview is that your goal is not to ask for a job, but to ask for guidance. So you can ask questions like this. Hey, I've just started my career search and would appreciate your guidance. Simple, right? How did you get started in your career? What training do I need to pursue this career path? What skills are needed for this type of role? What do you love most about your job? If you're talking to someone who has a job that you're interested in, wouldn't you like to know what they love most? Maybe even what they hate? What's the biggest challenge for someone in this field? And ask who else you should be talking to. There's lots of other people out there. And most importantly, offer assistance. When you've met with this person, they've taken time out of their busy day to meet with you and share information with you. Ask how you can help them. You never know what their answer might be, but you always want to extend that offer to help. The other important thing, make sure you prepare. If you're meeting someone brand new, Google them. See what comes up. Maybe there's something listed on their company website or on LinkedIn. And then jot down and create a few questions specifically for that person. A thank you is a must. Now, my mom taught me a handwritten thank you note is the way to go. But I understand in the world of the pandemic and the electronic world, an email suits just fine. But I absolutely encourage you to handwrite a thank you note, because that is going to set you apart. And you want that person to remember you when a particular job comes up and they think about you and then they call you. Now, you want it to be genuine, of course, but say thank you. It really does go a long way. And don't forget to offer them help in some way, some form. I recently worked with a transitioning veteran. He was in human resources. We met about a year ago, as a matter of fact, at this same conference. And he just landed his human resource job on the civilian side. So happy for him. And I asked him what was the advice that he would give someone else. And this was his suggestion: to find a civilian mentor. And I couldn't agree with him more. So this fella, he actually found people and developed solid, genuine relationships with them that were in the professional area, in this case, human resources that he was going into. And then he also suggested for veterans to connect with people in human resources. Why? Well, someone in human resources can give you an honest perspective on your resume, your interview style, skills that you're lacking. They can just help you figure out how things work. So seek out a civilian mentor in the area of expertise that you're looking into, and then find someone in human resources. You can certainly do this through local groups, Society for Human Resource Management. There's so many ways to do this. So let's talk about the how. How do you network? Well, I highly recommend LinkedIn. And quite frankly, if you're looking for a professional job and you're not on LinkedIn, you're probably going to get missed, or it's going to be harder for you to find a civilian role. So you need to get on LinkedIn. Over 30 million companies, and this is growing leaps and bounds literally every day. And there are over 3 million recruiters out there. Now, granted, I'm giving you global numbers, but this just shows you how big of a reach LinkedIn has. So you need to be on there. First and foremost, you need to have a professional photo. It boosts your profile 21 times. Yes, 21 times. And add a cover photo. Why? Well, it's going to show your level of engagement. If you have someone who's looking at your profile and they don't see any activity whatsoever, they don't see a picture, then they're not going to feel like you are connected on LinkedIn and involved on LinkedIn, and therefore they may not connect with you. So have that photo out there. Now, please don't do this. These are pictures of people who've actually reached out to connect with me. These are picture no-nos. Definitely a no on sunglasses. Have someone who knows how to take a picture. And these pictures don't have to be professional photos. They can be something simple with a cell phone camera. They take great pictures. It just needs to be head and shoulders. And no selfies, please. And unless your job that you're looking to get into or that you're in today involves children, leave the kids out of the picture. You know, I love this picture, but it's really not appropriate if you're looking for a professional role. And then finally, have a picture. Don't be Mr. Gray person. That's what shows up when you don't have a picture. And again, it just doesn't show you're very involved or engaged on LinkedIn. If you haven't already, subscribe to LinkedIn Premium. It's free to veterans. If you've already subscribed and you've paid for it, reach out to LinkedIn customer service and they can get you switched over. That's what my husband did. You want that free premium. It's important to utilize your summary section. A really simple trick that I recommend to my clients is that they take the summary section from their resume and put that onto the summary section on LinkedIn. It's really simple. And yes, you need to demilitarize your job titles. If you need help, reach out to someone in human resources or to someone in the field that you're interested in, and they can help you with getting the right job titles. Another way to do that is by the research that you're doing in job descriptions, and you can see what job titles they have out there. Demilitarize those job titles. Make sure that you have open to work turned on, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a moment. And you know, it's a good thing to give a recommendation and then you'll get recommendations. Why is this important? Well, if I were looking at your profile and I'm going to go down and look at the recommendations and just see what your coworkers or perhaps a former boss said about you. So give recommendations and get recommendations. Now let's talk about skills. We talked about skills a few minutes ago, but these are the skills that you're going to list on LinkedIn. And it's important you do this because 87% of the recruiters out there find you based on the skills that you list on LinkedIn. And boosting your profile by more than 31 times. I think you can have up to 50 skills listed in LinkedIn. Soft skills, hard skills, they have a database out there. So make sure you're utilizing that. There's been a recent trend, I'd say over the past 9-10 months, of changing the headline on LinkedIn. This is what shows up just underneath your profile picture of someone searching. And we want that profile, or excuse me, that headline to say something about you, to tell that person searching something about you. Not your job title, not that you're open to work, not that you're a transitioning veteran or a military spouse. We want it to speak to your role. Now it could be your current role, or it could be the role that you're seeking, the industry, and in this case, you could put, Army, Marine, whatever the case may be, military. And then what is the value that you're bringing to the work table? This is going to speak volumes to the person who's looking at your profile without even reading through. So definitely reformat your headline. Now here's a little behind the scenes on recruiting. So I was a recruiter, and we have a special view that regular LinkedIn users don't see. We're able to search for all different criteria, skills, geography. If I wanted to look for someone from a certain school, I could do that. There are so many different ways that a recruiter can search and find you. And what happens is if you have a profile picture, you start bubbling up to the top of the list. If you're open to work, you bubble up to the top of the list. If you don't have skills, a picture, if you don't have your experience filled out very well, LinkedIn sees all of that and you're going to bubble towards the bottom. And we want you to be seen by recruiters. So make sure you do all of these things, have your LinkedIn profile looking top notch, and you'll bubble up to those top of the search results, which is where we want you. So it's important to build your network now. In LinkedIn, you can connect with people by industry, you can follow companies, you can follow and join groups. So do that, do some searching. And again, this is going to speak to someone who's looking at your profile and they see the groups that you're interested in. So how do you do this? So LinkedIn's online, of course, and people ask me all the time, well, Judy, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say in a connection request. Well, I've just listed for you 3 really simple things to say to people. Now let me point out, on LinkedIn Mobile, right now, you don't have the capability of adding a message when you send that connection request. So I suggest when you're adding a number of people to your LinkedIn network that you do it from your laptop, because in that way you can send the connection request with a message. And here are things that you can say. Hey, Judy, it was great to meet you and be a part of your webinar today. I just wanted to connect. Or, hey, Robin, I'm moving back to the upstate and I'm really interested in connecting with other project management professionals. It really doesn't matter completely what you say, as long as you're genuine and you say something. This is going to put you in a place where people want to connect and accept that connection request with you. So definitely send a note. Let's talk about culture. And it's so important. And you understand that in the military you've had a certain culture, a certain code that you followed. Well, the same thing happens on the civilian side. And so I'm going to just share some things with you today that are really important in regards to finding the right culture. 41% of veterans will quit their first job post-military within the first year. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. People are rushing and accepting the first job offer, and you don't have to do that. It is so critical that you find the right fit that matches you and your values. A fit that matches the importance of things to you. So think about that before you accept your first job offer. So in culture, I don't really need to tell you this, but yeah, there's going to be a difference in dress code. You're used to having a very standard uniform, of course, in the military. Well, different companies do different things. Some people, it's suit and tie during the week and have casual Fridays. But casual Fridays is only khakis and a golf shirt. I mean, there's just so many different ways to look at this. So it's something that if that is important to you, ask what kind of dress code they have. Compensation. In the civilian side, compensation is not cut and dry. There are these large salary ranges, and just because you get a promotion, you may not get the amount that you're expecting, because every company handles compensation very differently. It's very different from the military. Your advancement path. In the military, you're very clear on what's your next step. On the civilian side, you could experience a jungle gym. And now what do I mean by that? Remember on the old playgrounds, they'd have these different things where there's the bars in different directions, the jungle gym, right? You could very easily take a lateral move that actually has more responsibility. Or you could move up and have less team members. It just is going to vary from company to company. So just keep that in mind. And sure, yes, there are politics in the workplace. And I'm not talking about presidential politics either. So just be mindful of your P's and Q's and how you interact with other people until you learn the political culture. Now, how do you find these things out? It's so important that you ask at least some of these questions during your interview. Hey, tell me a little bit about your culture. What makes it special? And I suggest that you ask this of every single person you interview with in a particular company. You can start seeing a pattern, I promise you. What is the best part about working for your company? And don't you want to know this from different people's perspectives as well? Absolutely. What's your training methodology? All right, so why is this important? In the military, you have a very specific training, and it's ongoing. You know that you're going to be trained for the job that you need to do. On the civilian side, and depending on the size of your company, you may not get formal training, or you might only get the required training, say like on harassment. So if training and being a continuous learner is important to you, Then ask about their training methodology. What type of events do you have? Do they celebrate Veterans Day, for example? Talking about the different things that they celebrate. Do they celebrate 25-year anniversaries? Whatever the case may be. This is going to tell you a lot about a company. Ask how that company supports veterans and the military. Again, asking this of every single person you interview with will really tell you a story. And ask if they have a Veterans ERP, an employee resource group. It's just simply a fancy name for bringing a group of people together, in this case veterans and military, to support each other in the workplace. Now I'll mention this. You can ask all these questions, but what I want you to do is really listen to how they answer you. That can actually tell you a whole lot more than actually what they say. Because if they stammer and stutter over their answer, then they may not be truthful or they don't know how to answer you. So listen to what they say, but also how they say it. So as we start wrapping up, I just wanted to mention that there are some support tools out there. I hope that you've already seen these. Veterans Ascend is a fabulous group. They're part of this conference. And they have a wonderful tool that translates your MOS into skills, and those skills are matched to job postings. There's no resume. So if you haven't already, register for free with Veterans Ascend. And this is also free to military spouses. So check that out. I've mentioned Onward to Opportunity for you. But check out local networking groups. And also check out the various groups that are on LinkedIn. I mentioned this before. This can be a great way for you to connect with people in the area that you're moving to. The important thing is be active and be engaged. Whether it's a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group, a local network, whatever the case may be, the more engaged you are, the more you'll get back, I promise. So, next steps for you. I want you to connect. Today, I want you to reach out, send me a LinkedIn invite. I want to connect with you. If I can help you, I will. Connect with other people that you're meeting in this conference. Understand and promote your skills. Be comfortable in how you share that with people. Share your experience and share your skills. Find a civilian mentor, one that's in your industry that you're interested in or in your profession, and then also find someone on the human resources side. Get that mentor. And please, don't settle. Don't settle for a job just because it's the first job offer. Accept the job offer for the company and the position that's right for you. And after all said and done, pay it forward. Help someone else. We all need to be doing that, especially right now. We'd love to have you check us out on our website, discoveryouraha.com, and we have various resources out there that are for you, for the military, for military spouses. So check it out. And we would be honored to have you follow us on social media. And please, as I mentioned earlier, please connect with me on LinkedIn and also connect with my husband, Daryl Horton. We would be honored to be a connection of yours. Thanks for your time today, and have a great rest of your week and the rest of the conference.